Andrew Tate, lesser in action. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I've spoken about Andrew Tate previously with regard to the concept of the alpha male, and also the obviousness of his behaviours. Tate is a narcissist. He is an individual that demonstrates a considerable sense of entitlement with regard to the way that he behaves. He's an individual that orders people around. He expects them to provide an immediate response to the diktats that he issues. He's an individual that undoubtedly engages in the shelving dynamic. He picks people up and he uses them and he puts them back down as and when he doesn't need to do so. He expects perfection from people. He has said that he essentially only dates young women in the region of 18 or 19, finding them basically easier to control. But also a part of that is that, well, quite simply, he goes for physically attractive women, and at that age, everything is where it should be. They still have youth on their side, and thus he expects that perfection. Undoubtedly, he moves to a swift sexual encounter with those that he's involved with. He is somebody that would undoubtedly require sex on demand, operating almost in a way a harem. He's a self-absorbed individual as well. He thinks that lightning comes out of his arse. He doesn't show accountability for his behaviours. He tells lies. Any help that he might provide people would only be done on a transactional basis, and it doesn't strike me as he's an individual that's going to put a penny on and get out the Dyson. He won't expect... He expects other people to do the running around for him, either in terms of an intimate partner or paid help on a domestic front. He doesn't have any genuine friends and is incapable of forging an appropriate relationship. He won't give any real definition to the relationships that he has with women, treating them as the appliances that he sees them as. He doesn't provide emotional support. He demonstrates a lack of manners in the way that he deals with people. One can see that he won't stick to particular arrangements. He won't address any relationship issues in any form of meaningful manner. Instead, it's the way it is. Him, Andrew, you serve him. That's the way that it is. He's not somebody that apologises. It's never his fault. He engages in grandiosity. There's considerable showmanship in his behaviour. He believes he's far superior to what he actually is. He attempts to put his point across with flowery language at times. Witness the discussions that he had with Piers Morgan. He engages in financial largesse, spraying his money around and using it as a means to control other people. He's prone to exaggeration. He regularly boasts and brags. Witness, for example, the provocative behaviours that he engaged in with Greta Thunberg, where he boasted about his car collection. He's quite clearly vain, often appearing with his shirt off. The speaking thumb likes to show himself, or the speaking toe, likes to show off his muscles. He engages in monologues. If you've ever listened to any of his videos, he regards himself as invincible. He dominates the conversation and believes himself to be cleverer than he actually is. He's haughty. He badmouths people. He's rude. He's dismissive. He holds court. He's arrogant. He doesn't look up to anybody. He believes that he's always right. He finds people annoying. He's a poor listener. He badmouths people and has a reputation for being difficult, abusive, and obnoxious. He engages in a range of manipulative behaviours. He flatters people. He uses bribery, basically, by buying them things. He tells lies. He engages in future faking. He triangulates people with objects. He triangulates them with people. Undoubtedly, he will ghost people, giving them absent silent treatments. There's the use of physical violence. He smears people. He promises gain. He invalidates people, belittles them, withdraws from them, denies them, utilises guilt, provocation, projection, and blame shifting. Notice the comments that he's made with regard to essentially stating that women should take responsibility for being abused. He utilises threat. He will control people, undoubtedly, in the way that he does so through what they wear. He will control them monetarily. He uses insult. There's the use of fury. There's a revision of history. He'll engage in feigned misunderstanding and alienation, bullying, intimidation, determining that people are not good enough. He will deflect. He will issue a list of required improvements for people, make false accusations, isolate them, take away sex from them, cross-examine them, issue accusations out of nowhere. He will utilise vagueness. He engages in the use of vulnerability against the victim. He finds fault. He hijacks conversations. I dare say he utilises circular conversations. He will bring up the past. And he will sexually belittle his victims. His boundary recognition is non-existent. He sees people as objects that are there to be utilised by him. I don't doubt that he's prying with regard to people, flirtatious, that he engages in inappropriate communications with them, that he obtains personal information about people, doesn't respect confidentiality, interferes in people's relationships, is engaged in sexual assaults, takes over space, doesn't allow people privacy, and that he's a self-inviter. He also shows many aspects of the narcissistic dynamic, namely mirroring, facade management to an extent, although largely that facade is one of a Mr. Big kind of approach. He doesn't operate a facade of being a helpful individual or being a nice person. He revels in being a badass. He engages in treating others as an extension of self, character trait acquisition, black and white thinking, the exhibition of the need to assert control. He demonstrates a response to a perceived threat to that control. He's a hypocrite. He objectifies people, he compartmentalizes them. He exhibits paranoia, he hoovers, he engages in one-upmanship. He has a virtual fuel matrix, he utilizes hunting grounds, he's deluded, he rejects intimacy, has many intimate relationships. He probably has seamless intimate partner primary sources. He's competitive. He'll engage in love bombing, use of pet names. He's probably a conspiracy theorist. He will utilize his phone as a headquarters. He engages in shelfing. He'll have a bolt hole. He'll drop the narc bomb. Micromanage people. Spoils occasions. He has no emotional empathy as occasioned by his abuse of people, his manipulative behaviours, the interference in other people's relationships, and undoubtedly the commission of infidelity. Accordingly, he scores across all of the relevant areas that would demonstrate that he's a narcissist. Because he doesn't operate this facade of being a decent and kind person, but revels in this misogynist, the sort of king of misogynists, he very much fits with lesser. He is of some intelligence, and he operates with some charisma also. How else would he get so many young men to take up the mantra of what he preaches? Of course, these individuals are easily influenced. They are looking for someone to lead them in these uncertain times. And therefore, he, as a consequence of what he naturally is, fills that gap. And in the circumstances, he would very readily fall within upper lesser type B. He's brash, he's belligerent, he's a bully, and he boasts. He's right, you're wrong. Women are there to be used. He's the man, dominant, aggressive. And he seeks the prime aims like any narcissist. Now, of course, just recently, he has been arrested. And Neil Johnston in The Telegraph tells us that Greta Thunberg has suggested that her Twitter spat with a divisive internet personality led to his arrest after he was detained on suspicion of using lover boy tactics to traffic women. Assertion of control, love bombing, absence of emotional empathy, exploitation of other individuals. Andrew Tate, 36, a former professional kickboxer, and his brother Tristan, 34, were detained by authorities in Romania over allegations of trafficking, rape, and being part of a gang of organised criminals. Criminality, lack of accountability, sense of entitlement, no boundary recognition. The pair were arrested at Tate's luxury compound near Bucharest by police who accused the British nationals, alongside 2 Romanians, of exploiting at least 6 women, who it is said were recruited, housed and forced into performing pornographic videos for sale online. If the allegations are accurate, this exhibits an absence of emotional empathy, a sense of entitlement, exploitation, objectification. Tate, who is banned from several social media platforms for misogynistic comments, collateral consequences, and hate speech, rose to fame after being kicked off reality show Big Brother in 2016. He was removed from the television programme over a video that emerged appearing to show him attacking a woman with a belt, a clip he claimed was edited. Use of physical violence, denial, blame shifting. Tate was arrested a day after he posted a video online of himself at his compound in Papera, Voluntari, in the latest round of a spat with Thunberg, the 19-year-old climate activist. Earlier in the week, Tate, who was born in Chicago, Illinois, but grew up in an end-of-terrace house in Luton with his mother Eileen, had told Thunberg he owned 33 cars with enormous emissions. Triangulation with object, boasting. The Swedish teenager then joked that Tate had small dick energy and told him to get a life. Dressed in a red and gold robe and smoking a cigar, Grandiosity, Tate appeared with a stack of boxes from Jerry's Pizza, which he said he would make sure were not recycled. Provocation, lack of emotional empathy. There has been speculation the pizza box led to authorities finding his location. Civil rights attorney Alejandra Caraballo claims the pizza box likely confirmed to authorities he was in the country. Romanian authorities needed proof that Andrew Tate was in the country, so they reportedly used his social media post. She said, "This, of course, is demonstrative of the in-the-now behaviour of Andrew Tate as the lesser in action. His narcissism is excellent at asserting control, nullifying threats to control, drawing fuel, acquiring character traits, and getting hold of residual benefits. It's made him famous, it's made him rich. But although he exhibits a degree of intelligence and street smarts, his narcissism leads him down a road to make schoolboy errors such as that, which has led to the identification of him and confirming that he was in the country. His own social media posts basically caused a problem for him. He was hoisted by his own petard, something which, of course, regularly happens with lesser and mid-range narcissists. Caraballo continued, his ridiculous video yesterday featured a pizza from a Romanian pizza chain, Jerry's Pizza, confirming he was in the country. Following his arrest on Thursday, Thunberg wrote on Twitter, "This is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes." Others also mocked Tate online, including Essex Police. Violence against women and girls comes in many forms. Is it time to #reflect on your misogynistic and abusive behaviour? Call the Change Project. It then says how it started, pizza box, how it's going, a pair of handcuffs. Tate, whose father, Emery, was an international chess master, will now be detained for 30 days after a Romanian court ruled that his detention would be extended. Tate and his brother were initially questioned for 5 hours and denied any wrongdoing. Denial. The brothers have been under criminal investigation since April, and on Thursday a tweet was posted from Tate's account which read, "The Matrix sent their agents. Paranoia, delusion." The post was the latest in a series of Matrix references made by Tate, apparently linked to the movie franchise, which depicts a fictionalized world in which humanity is trapped in a simulated reality. The concept of the films has been co-opted by far-right conspiracy theorists and men's rights groups in recent years. A spokesman for the pair said they could not comment on the arrest, but added Andrew and Tristan Tate have the utmost respect for the Romanian authorities and will always assist and help in any way they can. The US and UK dual national, who was posed next to Bugatti supercars, private jets and wads of cash, triangulation with object, boasting, previously told followers that 40% of the reason he moved to Romania was because he believed police were less likely to pursue allegations against him. Grandiosity, boast, criminality. He has since gained further notoriety online for a number of comments about women, including suggesting that they bear some responsibility for being assaulted, an incident for which he was banned from Twitter. Blame shifting, collateral consequence. Videos of Mr. Tate have gone viral on social media, including one in which he was interviewed by a YouTuber in which he said he was absolutely a misogynist. Lack of facade, boast, adding, "I'm a realist, and when you're a realist, you're sexist. There's no way you can be rooted in reality and not be sexist." Absence of facade. He also said in the same video that women are intrinsically lazy, smearing, and that there was no such thing as an independent female. Sense of possession, ownership. In August this year, YouTube joined Facebook and Instagram in banning Tate from its platform for breaching its rules on hate speech. At the time of his removal, he had 4.7 million followers on Instagram, having gained over half of these in the space of a few months. Videos of Tate on TikTok have been watched more than 11 billion times, with the influencer using a network of copycat accounts to promote himself. He's also persuaded 127,000 men and boys to pay him £39 a month for tips on getting rich and dealing with life through an online academy he called Hustlers University. Assertion of control, receipt of fuel, residual benefit through money. The brothers have been under investigation by Romania's Directorate for Investigating Organised Crime and Terrorism after the US Embassy alerted police that a 21-year-old American woman was being held at Tate's residence. His home was raided, where 2 women were found at the property who said they were held against their will. If that, of course, is correct, that's kidnapping, assertion of control, lack of emotional empathy, manipulation. Tate and his brother were questioned for 5 hours before being released and denied any wrongdoing. Denial. Following the fresh raid on Thursday, Romania's Directorate for Investigating Organised Crime and Terrorism said that 2 British citizens and 2 Romanian citizens were suspected of being part of a criminal group focused on human trafficking. It also released a video of the raid showing guns, knives and money on display in one room. Prosecutors claim they found 6 women who the suspects had sexually exploited. Again, if this information is accurate, that demonstrates lack of boundary recognition, crude manipulation, absence of emotional empathy, sense of entitlement. The 4 suspects appear to have created an organised crime group with the purpose of recruiting, housing and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content meant to be seen on specialised websites for a cost, prosecutors said. Objectification, residual benefit, exploitation, absence of emotional empathy, lack of boundary recognition, sense of entitlement, lack of accountability. They would have gained important sums of money, residual benefit. According to the investigation, 6 injured people have been identified in relation to the investigation, one of whom is said to have been violently sexually assaulted in March. The Directorate said that the British duo had recruited victims by misrepresenting their intention to enter into a marriage cohabitation relationship and the existence of genuine feelings of love. Love bombing, flattery, future faking, lies, which they described as the lover-boy method. They added that victims were later transported to a house in Lvov County where they were exploited. Various aspects of narcissism at work, all commensurate, of course, with the upper lesser type B status of Andrew Tate. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.